So you signed with Bellator not long ago. How did that feel?
It was good. Like, signing with Bellator was like probably a dream come true. To be fair, to fight on a big promotion. Obviously the fight didn't end up happening. So I was like absolutely devastated for that. But I'm hoping I can get back on there next year or something. See if they've got a local show coming up and try and get on there.
Yeah, because obviously UFC are the biggest one, but Bellator is second. And you saw like Chandler, he came from Bellator into UFC. Yeah. So do you feel like that you could see that happening if you do enough to maybe?
If I put in more work and stuff like that, get some good fights in, get some clean wins, it could definitely happen.
Yeah. So as a fighter, you obviously talked about your striking is good and your grappling is good. Do you feel like the wrestling is the main thing that you need to work on then?
Yeah, my wrestling obviously because of my body type, it's harder for me with wrestling, especially fighting at lightweight. Like you've got a lot of shorter, stocky guys with more of a wrestler's build, who are more, their body type's more built for wrestling. My body type's not really built for wrestling, so it's harder for me to in certain positions when we're wrestling, when we're grappling and things like that. There's a lot of cons to me wrestling as opposed to pros. You know what I mean? So I've got obviously there are some pros. I've got a long reach. It's harder for them to take me down and stuff like that. But at the same time, when I do get taken down, it's also because of my long limbs harder for me to get back up and stuff. So it's a bit of a catch-22 really.
Further, MMA in England in general, wrestling is sort of the one thing I think that not many they need work. Because you look at Darren Till in his last fight, he got taken down by Brunson. Why do you think it's not as big, or maybe it's in his work time at the moment?
Because in America they do wrestling in school. They do wrestling as a thing, as a sport in school. We don't do that. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's only learning wrestling when they're actually getting into the sport, which is a little bit too late. Do you know what I mean? Unless they go into it, start getting into MMA from a young age, or their parents are taking them to wrestling classes, Olympic wrestling classes and stuff like that. Whereas in America, they're doing that from in school and it's part of their curriculum. Do you know what I mean? So I think they've got that head start over us over here. We are getting a lot more wrestlers from here. Like we are getting a lot better at wrestling and everything. But I still think in America the level's ahead.
Yeah. So you think that's why? Because obviously boxing is, if terms of fighting, the big sport in England. No coincidence why you're obviously good at it. Leon Edwards, his main thing is striking. Same with
a lot. In England, obviously, we've got the better strikers over America. They've got the better wrestlers. I think that's probably because of boxing and stuff like that. And then you've got the in between, which is the Muay Thai. But I think striking's more our thing over here. Wrestling's more their thing.
So you said you want to get back soon. Do you know when, or do you have like a timeline when you feel like you'll be ready to be back?
I'm hoping to be fighting in 2 weeks. On the 19th of December. I had a fight lined up then on Vice Fights with I think Little Man. Do you know? He was headlining on that show, so it was supposed to be on there, but his opponent pulled out, so the show got cancelled. So I'm trying to get my fight moved over to another show, FCC. I fought on there a few times before, trying to get the fight moved onto there for the same day. Once I've had it confirmed, I should be back on there. I should be back out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you're scheduled to fight, I can never pronounce his first name, Darragh Kelly?
Darragh Kelly, yeah.
So that was his first professional fight.
Yeah.
But what I was seeing about him, there's a lot of hype around him in Ireland. What were you feeling going towards that fight? You think you would have, how confident were you? No.
I fought guys like him before. Like, don't get me wrong, it probably would have been a hard fight because he's a wrestler. It was just a bit of a wild, scrappy wrestler. Fought guys like him before. I wasn't really that worried, to be fair. It was just about defending the takedown and fighting my fight. He's a forward fighter, likes to try and close the distance to get you against the cage, take you down. And whatever, so I knew what to expect with him, so I wasn't really that worried.
Yeah. Do you think because you've already had 3 pro fights, that was his first, that would have helped you in the fight? Because
my experience, I think, my experience would have helped me. I think it probably would have been a very fast paced, tough first round, and then it would have slowed down after that. He fights at a fast pace, but it's very hard to fight at a fast pace and keep that fast pace for 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So, I think it probably would have been a tough first round, and then I would have took it after that.
Yeah. So where do you think? Obviously you didn't fight him, but who would you say is your toughest opponent? Second
that I've fought.
Yeah.
Probably say Antonio Sheldon. Yeah. My third amateur fight, I think it was my third or fourth amateur fight. Just because he was a lot more controlled on the ground. He managed to take me down. He managed to hold me down. Obviously, my wrestling was nowhere near as good as it is now. But back then, like, I think, he was able to actually control me and nullify everything that I was trying to do and fight his game. So although I didn't really take much damage in that fight or anything, I think that probably was my toughest challenge. Toughest fight mentally, I think, was the title fight at light welter. Just because I broke my hand the first punch of the fight, first 10 seconds of the fight, I broke my hand, and I had to battle through the other 5 rounds. I mean, with a broken hand, and still hitting him with that broken hand as well. So mentally, I think that was probably my toughest fight, but that was my own mental battle. That wasn't, do you know what I mean? The pressure that he was putting on me, that was hard. I think probably my toughest fight, probably Antonio Sheldon.
So do you think if you fought Sheldon today that you would have been? Because what do you think is the difference between you then and you now as a fighter?
The difference between me then and now is probably experience. I'm a lot more relaxed. I'm a lot more methodical, smarter in there, and I'm able to identify when I'm losing and when I need to adjust. So I think it'll be a totally different fight this time if we was to fight again. He does actually come down to my gym sometimes as well, and train at my gym and that. So his grappling's still good. I think his grappling's probably better than mine. His grappling's better than mine. Well, not probably better. His grappling is better than mine. My striking's miles better than his. So it'll just be that typical fight, grappler versus striker. If he can take me down, then he might have a better chance of winning. I can keep it standing. I'll probably have a better chance of winning.
Yeah. I don't know. So the last one, what would you say is your long-term ambitions as a martial artist?
Mine now is just gaining a little bit more experience as a fighter, and then hope to pass my knowledge on then to the other guys that are coming up that I train with. My kids, obviously I've got a son now as well, who will get into martial arts when he's of age as well. So just passing my knowledge on to the kids. I'm 35. I'm not planning on fighting for a massive long period of time further. Do you know what I mean? So for me now, it's just about gaining as much experience as I can while I'm still competing, and then I can filter that through then to the other guys that are coming up and starting their careers.